Some of you might not have much in the way of exploded views, and you might want to be showing more detail. For example, if you have added a section analysis during your work, like say you were looking at stuff and it was quite helpful to have a view like that. First of all, how we do those views is you go up to inspect, you select section analysis, and then you can actually select anything to be your section analysis, right? So it could go through the middle there, like that. And then it creates this analysis folder. So if I turn off that, it goes back to normal. You might want to do a different one, section analysis there. And these are very helpful when you're figuring things out. And you might show these in B2, but then you want to add dimensions to these things and show them for your C2. But you cannot dimension in the design. So how can we show them in our drawings? Well, it's actually pretty simple. I'm just going to go up here, I'm going to secondary click, and I'm going to create the drawing. Actually, before we do, I'm just going to show you what happens if I move that up and save it as we did before, just because it's going to be a bit easier. And then for what I want to do, I'm going to create a drawing. So secondary click on the top there, create a drawing, and bringing it back into our work that we've been using, we're going to create a new page and click OK. Again, version mismatch because I have moved the door, and that's a tiny little scale there. So we'll go 1 to 2 possibly for this. And I'm going to bring this one in and just plonk that down there. And hit OK. What I also want to do though is I would like a projected view of that, because I'm going to show you something else as well. Why is that doing that? Okay, and I'm going to click on that and I'm going to make that one shaded. Okay, you can see here though, because I changed the door, moved it back up, you can see here it's moved there, right? So you might want to be careful about that. The fact that it does update your drawings. If you're thinking you'd like to try lots of things in different positions, don't create them all in the same file. You can have different ones and have them saved differently. That's up to you. But for me, I'm just wanting them all in one place right now. So this here, we're trying to show one of these section analysis. You see, I can turn it on there and it's not giving me anything down here. So in order to create a sectional view, we can go up to create, go to sectional view, and we need to click on the object we want to use as a sectional view. Now, as I go through there, it's automatically trying to click to things because it's trying to help me. So I'm just going to let it go to the middle there, and I'm going to come up, back down, and then we're going to hit that check mark, right? Oh, I missed the check mark there. So we're going to do that again. We're going to do section view. Okay, it's selected that. So I'm not actually clicking on it. That was my mistake there. I'm going to reference those points. So see now when I move up, I get that dotted line, and I'm going to come down between those two like so. And then I'm going to hit the check mark, and then I can choose which way. So the arrows signify the spectator viewpoint, right? So if I click OK, or dump it where I want it, and then click OK, you can see we've now got the sectional view. Now, obviously, for something like this, it's a bit rubbish. I mean, I don't really need this view, but it's more about me showing you what you need. And then you can actually dimension things in that view. Now, clearly, we could have dimensioned that before. However, it depends on what you want to do. So that's section AA shown there, and the scale is 1 to 2. Okay. Now, don't just put in sectional views. It has to be something that's relevant. Another thing you might want to do is a detailed view. right? So what we can do for a detailed view is selected it first, then click on the drawing you would like to have a section of view for, or detailed view, and then we can click and drag a circle, and then we can dump that there to show in more detail anything that you think is worthy of explaining. Now, we might want to increase the size on that, not decrease the size. 1:1. We could even decrease the size on that. Well, we can't on that one because it's directly from that view there. But say you want to do the same thing, but just on an isometric view, you can go create drawing. Let's bring it into there. New sheet, okay. And when we bring this in, it might look like we've got a section view there, but it's going to come out. It's going to change now. These are isometric. They're a bit of a pain in the backside. What does home look like? There we go. That's home. That's quite useful. So again, if you had a big drawing that you wanted to really highlight something, you can say, okay, we've got that small. We're going to do a detailed view of that tiny little detail there, and then bring that out, and we can say, right, actually we want that scale 1:1 to try and show the detail there, okay, and it's labeled up there. You can move them around so that it's as shown in C1 as shown in section of view C, blah 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 blah, highlighting how this is perfect for whatever. Okay, so that's most of the stuff that you could need to do. Perspective view, really, does it add much? Not really. Some of you artists might think so. Auxiliary view, I can't imagine you're going to need that. Auxiliary views are more for something where having an auxiliary view of that might be beneficial. It's just a view looking at it. Auxiliary just means extra. Why is that jumping out like that? It's not giving me the opportunity to too much. I wouldn't bother with auxiliary views though. Okay, good luck.